and welcome back to Artmadillo. I know it's been a while and I'm working really hard to get my videos up one every week. I already have another one recorded, I just haven't edited it yet, so that one should be on time. This here is Charlie, and he is our friend's dog that we are puppy sitting right now. He is a corgi, so he's got super duper tiny little legs. He's very sweet. So today we are going to be drawing Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z. He is a green alien thingy and in the anime type of style. So the biggest thing to remember about this, that it is very cartoony, and that is what I was striving for. So to start off, I'm going to do the very basic outline of where his body is going to go and get the pose correctly before I start drawing it. And I just made it super basic, so his head is just a circle, his torso is a circle, his legs are just big ovals. They're just getting the shape of exactly where it's going to go. And then I'm adding in his ears and the outline of his jaw and little details like that to make him look more like he is. And I'm going to start adding details on his clothing, so adding in his arm there and then his eyes here. And they're kind of round on the top and then the jagged on the bottom and on the sides. And then I'm just getting the cape right, so it's flowing around, and then getting his pants right too. And then I'm going to just add in his belt and little details around his fingers and his arm. And I'm not sure if that's supposed to be armor or what on his arms, but they look kind of weird. But I guess since he's an alien or god or whatever, he can look exactly how he wants to look. So I'm going to just add in details on that arm, and then add in the folds and the wrinkles in his clothing on his pants. And his shoes are small-ish compared to the rest of his body, and in that shape. And you can probably find this pose if you look up him on Google. So that's where I found my inspiration for this pose. And then I'm going to use my pencil and just darken the lines so that they become a little bit more permanent. So when I go back over them with the Sharpie, I will be able to see clearly where I need to ink it in and not just guess my way around and make a bunch of mistakes. And so here I'm just adding in a little bit more detail to everything, making it darker, adding in more wrinkles, so that I know exactly where to put my lines later on. And I'm just adding in the rest of these details on here. Then I'm going to use my Sharpie and I'm going to start outlining everything. His ears and his eyes and eyebrows and his head. And those clothing folds there. So you can see how I did those lines on the folds of the clothing. And clothing folds are pretty hard to get right. They're really hard to figure out where you're gonna put everything. The cape is a little bit easier to do because it's mostly just a few lines, whereas the rest of the clothing has more folds and is going to be harder to do. And so here I'm going to outline his arm, his fingers, and on that hand, his pointer finger is actually bigger than the rest of them because of the perspective, if you can see how that goes. And then his belt is a bunch of, looks like cords wrapped around. And then I'm just adding in these folds on his pants, and they kind of like move into each other, if you can see how that is. And I'm just adding in lines on his shoes to give it that kind of cartoony look and a different feel and perspective on that. And then I'm going to do his other hand, and it's not as prominent as the other one where the pointer finger is bigger, but it still is. And then I'm just going to add a few more folds to his cape. Then I'm going to get my eraser and start erasing all the lines that I no longer need. I
don't use the pencil that I used at first very often, so I'm just gonna add in the shadows with my black here. And sometimes it is good to leave the pencil lines in because they give the character more depth or more of a sketchy feel, but I tend to like to erase all my pencil lines and start over with some pen. I used to draw all in pen, which is really good to practice not making mistakes or working with your mistakes and creating something better. That is a good tactic to try. And then with this blue, I'm making it like have the shadows. It is the shadows. The underside of him is blue, and that is a good shadow color for white clothing and snow and all sorts of other white things. I'm going to use a purple, and this purple is a little light, so I'm going to go back over it. Right now I'm just doing shadows, but I'm going to go back over it with a darker purple. It's more of a bluish purple that looks more like his clothing in the TV show. And I'm just coloring that all in, and then I'm going to use the dark one and go back over it. And it's just good to have the folds in the clothes have the darker shadows so that you can feel like they're actually folds and not just random lines put randomly there. And I used my green, and I'm coloring in his skin, which is very green. He is a very green guy. And then I'm going to use that purple and just color in that part. Then I'm going to use red and work dark to light on his armor, like that, or whatever those are, and color in those red parts on his wrists. And then that is a blue color, and my blue that I used at first wasn't super bright, so I used aqua blue to change that. And then I'm coloring the shoes brown, and just finishing up with a bunch of just the rest of that. So yeah.
Please like and subscribe, and if you would like me to draw anything for you, I will totally draw it. Just leave it in the comment section down below, and I'll get to it as soon as I can.